out of Kenya. Well, we speak about this being a very, very important moment for South Africa and for the world. Let's take you back just a little bit. Our very own Sexwale was called by FIFA to be a part of the Anti-Racism Global Task Force. He's a member of that. And after being a part of that, he decided this has to become a global campaign that goes across the borders of just football, and it has to apply to all forms of sports. So who better to head something like this than Sexwale? Good morning to you. It's so good to have you on the program. I mentioned Codesa that was happening here in these walls when it was Caesars at the time. National Party, the ANC, all political parties gathering here to try and end racism. I mean, this has to be one of the most significant places in South Africa.
You actually remind us of what they call it, Codesa, Convention for a Democratic South Africa.
Yeah.
For people who may not know, this place here, it's a beautiful hotel right now, Emperor's Paris, was where it all began for us as South Africans and for the world to watch, when we started resolving our own problems. And remember, we had heavy problems. See this color of yours and my color. This was just, now that's what the world is struggling with today.
Yeah.
We don't say that we have completely solved our own problems, but for the world they're saying, help us. With the little bit that we have done, help us. Because what they saw here during those days, people had just come back from exile, from underground, from prison. People came from government, the government of apartheid that was existing. And without the intervention of the AU or OAU, without the United Nations, without any person bringing us together, we decided, South Africans, this is it. Yeah. So this place became the beginning of where the Constitution of South Africa was started.
Yeah.
The beginning of the discussions for saying, let's have a democratic, a peaceful, a non-racial future. So this place is holy territory.
It really is. And I mean, I think to hold talks such as these just hold even more significance being here. You've managed to get global players here. I know your dream was to make this a global initiative. It doesn't seem to be any hesitation from anybody when it comes to joining this. Talk to me about some of the people that are actually represented at the summit.
It was somebody, Dohar, who has been in the struggle for a very long time. He said we're able to achieve here in less than 12 months what many people tried to do in 30 years of the ANC, for example, in exile, by bringing attention to a particular cause. Now, when FIFA had said, be part of our anti-racism campaign, and that started in 2006, by the way, I said, what do we do? They said, say no to racism in football. Then, having participated in the fight against racism in society, Leanne, I said, okay, but the problem is bigger than football.
Yeah.
And it's not a FIFA issue. It's not a football issue. It is not a sporting issue, because the Global Watch here is not about sport. We're not a sporting organization. So this is not the razzmatazz issue. This is a social, global initiative to fight racism in all sport, but understanding that racism doesn't come from sport, but gets into sport from society. So Global Watch is a watchdog that says, let's eliminate this thing everywhere. Yeah. That's why we're here. So the kind of people that have come here, the United Nations is here, the very office of Ban Ki-moon, with his top advisor is here. And from here, we are going to meet with Ban Ki-moon. The office of FIFA, Blatter himself is part of this, only because he couldn't come through. There's something that happened with him, for his family, but he was here by wire.
Yeah.
And the IOC. So if you have the International Olympics Committee, this is it. Then you have got representatives from various organizations across the world. You'll be talking to the European Parliament right now, a lady called Emine Boscott, the boss of anti-racism in the European Parliament. Then you are going to see Sam Ramsamy from the AU. You'll be talking to somebody called Piara Fo from Football Against Racism in Europe. You'll be talking to, I hope, Amadou Fall from the basketball in the United States. So we have them all here.
Is this one of the biggest meetings when it comes to the eradication of racism in sports in general that's ever been held?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
The biggest gathering of anti-racism happened in Durban many years ago, but that was anti-racism generally in the world.
Yeah.
And South Africa was saying, come and see our experiment starting from here at Codesa. But this time, for sport, there has not been any here. But it doesn't stop here. Yeah. So this is the beginning. We'll be doing many other projects as we go forward.
Yeah. It was our former President Nelson Mandela that said that sports can change the world.
Has got the power.
Is that at the heart of all of this? I mean, we see one of your partners is the Nelson Mandela Foundation, which makes all the sense in the world.
It is the Nelson Mandela Foundation. It is the Dohar Foundation, the government of Doha. Remember, we said they are hosting the 2022 World Cup. So Sheikh Faisal bin Mubarak Al Thani is here, but he looks oil when he's here. But they're part of this. And of course, you have the Codesa Foundation, you have the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, the Tutu Foundation, and the Al Gore Foundation. A number of foundations have come together to say they want to be part of this. So that's how it's going.
Yeah. Let's just wrap it up, even though I want to talk to you constantly. But there was a comment that you made this week that perhaps some may not have seen as racism, but you labeled it racism. And I think that perhaps maybe it's an understanding that we need, that racism is not necessarily just one individual against another. It goes over that. Now, with Morocco pulling out of hosting the African Cup of Nations, you called that an incident of racism. How do we get to this conclusion?
Let's clarify that. I said, and I'll quote myself again, it is inescapable for people to conclude that Morocco's action is questionable insofar as its conduct. Here is Morocco, which has been given 2 games. The FIFA World Club, meaning FIFA clubs, will be playing in Morocco in December.
Yeah.
Then the FIFA African Cup in November. They pulled out of this one because they say Ebola. Okay, now Ebola starts here in Africa. There's flu. What do you call this animal flu taking place in the bird flu?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Taking place in Europe right now. And we've had SARS taking place in the Far East. They're silent on these things. Now you are stigmatizing Africa by doing that. What does Obama do when they say there's a problem in Africa? What do the Chinese do? What did the Cubans do? They flocked. They didn't run away from us. They actually sent their people at risk into Africa. Now, what are you saying when you're saying I'm cancelling this one that is concerned with West Africa, but we are going to allow other nations from Europe, which is the FIFA World Cup, with the FIFA World Club, to take place in December? Now, there's no consistency there. Find the name of what you call this thing, but we are saying it is inescapable that people will say, Morocco, you are looking at this, you are stigmatized, call it, but they've stigmatized Africa by what they did. So that's why we were all in a state of panic. What do we do?
Yeah.
But Morocco still wants us now to come from Europe and other parts of the world in December. That is why it was suspended by CAF.
All right. Yes. Let's leave it there for now. I know we're going to talk to you again. You're here the whole morning. We need more of your words of the whole day.
Until the global charter is adopted.
Good.
Here.
I'm glad, and that's happening today.
Okay.
Sexwale talking to us about racism in sport, heading up this global initiative and wanting to get every country and every sports form on board. Let's take a break. More after this. Stay tuned.